Commissioner Gator.
Here.
Commissioner Gallagher.
Here.
Commissioner Buckley.
Here.
There is a quorum present.
As you wish, please stand for the pledge and the invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk.
Dear God, we thank you today for all the gifts that you bestow on us, our health, our families. We ask that you remember this week, this Holy Week, as we wait for Good Friday and Easter Sunday, your resurrection that most of us celebrate, that we owe everything to you and your Son. We ask this morning that you remember the people in Baltimore that suffered fatalities this morning at the bridge. We ask that you keep their families close to them and comfort them. And all these things we ask in your Son's name, Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen.
What you referred to on the Baltimore, Cardinal hit a bridge and the bridge collapsed. The water's 47 degrees and there's some unknown number of people in that water. So it's a serious issue there.
8 bridge workers for our road crew, they were fixing potholes. And went down 150-something feet.
Did you see it drive into the bridge? It's got a video of it. Drive right into one of the piers and down the
A report a while ago said that they lost the link, you know, they had no steering or anything else, and they called the reason there was no cars on the bridge at that moment, exactly, is because they called Mayday and got some of them stopped before they got to the bridge. There's some of them went in, but there should have been dozens that they actually stopped.
Okay. Well, it's a serious matter in Baltimore. Okay, you see the consent agenda, motion?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We want to, item 1 is award the annual bids for these particular offices. Motion?
I make a motion, we award the annual bids for recorder of deeds, county clerk, collector, maintenance, assessor, circuit judges, circuit marshal, circuit court reporter, and auditor.
Second. Any questions?
I would have been on that, for us, but
Sorry.
I'm still looking at my list.
Okay.
Still
right.
looking at the list.
Okay. No questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we want a bid opening for floor cleaning machines.
Brian's not here.
Thank you for that.
A couple of these have been demonstrated, they've tried, but
Try the bids or try the
they
machines?
tried the machines out, if you follow them out here.
How many bids do we have?
This is those staples.
Okay, we have 2 bids for this, being opened publicly. They will not be acted upon today. Maintenance department will look at them, auditor and clerk will look at them and make sure they're all inclusive.
If anyone's here looking for these bids, we have them right here, they can take pictures and we will.
And we'll just leave those out for now. Okay, that's all of those bids?
Yep.
I think we have another bid opening for our fire panels. Do you have any bids on that? One bid, okay. That too will be displayed publicly if anybody needs to see it.
This is from Roberts Alarm Systems and Bonds here.
Anybody need to come up and look at these bids? Okay, well, we'll just, okay, go ahead.
This in there.
Go ahead and take pictures of what you wish.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay, you got it? All right, we'll move along. Continue contract with the ERDCC, Clay.
Clay Copeland, Superintendent with Road Bridge. Yes, we have been utilizing these inmate crews for the past year and past couple of years, and we have to renew our contract with them annually. And it is a huge benefit to the county that we use these. We want to continue with this contract, continue with the RDCC. These guys pick up trash every day. They are never done. Seems like just when we get one road finished, it's time to do it again. Last week, they cleaned up all the trash in coordination with the county deputies underneath Botec Bridge. And so they are a huge benefit to the county, a huge savings. And it's just, as we said before, it's something that Road and Bridge just does not have the time to do.
Like next week with elections, you've got a crew that will go out and take some of our.
This same
voting
crew
machines, yeah,
will assist with elections.
compared to pulling guys off the road crews.
Right.
And it only has to be done every, this time 3 times this year, next year, just once, you can't hire a crew to do that.
And it costs us $7.50 a day per man. So it's very reasonable, and the guy that we have from the Road and Bridge that supervises that crew, Terry Thompson, he does a great job. And we do have one of our men committed to that every day. But it's a huge benefit to the county, and if you'll notice, a lot of the county roads now, the trash is gone. Well, usually it returns.
Day.
It returns.
Does
Yeah, we
the
haul a
fourth-
lot of furniture too.
Does the fourth man still have trash to pick up?
No, he's watching. He's
No, I'm
supervising.
talking about the tail end of the list there.
Oh, well, yeah, they'll all.
Well, after getting off the highway this weekend over by Little
This one's for you, Bob, yeah.
we had 50 kids from and a lot of them were baseball players from the college. And
On number 8,
we
yeah.
picked up trash along Highway 8, and there was still, even though we were in the front, there was still those little pieces that you didn't get. So it's like it looks like a big
Right.
vacuum cleaner going down the highway. It's really
You wouldn't think, now, last week, I don't have the numbers from when we cleaned up under Botec Bridge last week, but they did it about 6 months ago and picked up 1,800 pounds of trash under Botec Bridge. So, anyway.
Is that couches and mattresses, or what is that?
Tires, coolers, campsites.
Used toilet paper.
That's
Used
what I'm saying.
toilet paper.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to continue this contract?
I talked to Tracy also, and it's the same contract that we had. They wanted to make sure we didn't have anything to change, and they
We have
didn't.
no
So
issues.
it's exactly the same, and I'm going
To make a motion, we continue the contract with the ERDCC group, so.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, waive penalty and interest. Mr. Hancock did not get a bill for a piece of property that he owns, tax bill. And so, interest and penalty wasn't accrued, added. And so, as it says, the collector's office wishes to waive this penalty and interest. It is the county's fault.
Yes,
It is all of the county, so I will make that motion, we waive the penalty and interest for Matthew Hancock for $24.71.
Second.
Okay, questions? We have a policy, if it's not the county's fault, we don't waive it, but this is the fault of the county. Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, permission to purchase.
John Gross, Highway Administrator. We are actually gonna table this until next week. There is an issue with the mower. It is not attached contractually to the tractor. It was missed several years ago, so we are going to table this until next week.
Okay, it's not attached, I don't understand what you said.
So we are purchasing the tractor from the contract that's through NASCO. The mower is an open market. Bridget and I just talked to the John Deere rep. It was missed last time it was purchased through that contract, and we're gonna bid out the mower, the
Okay.
Tiger mower.
So you don't mean table it, you mean set it aside then? A table means next week.
Well, I will revisit this next week to ask for permission to bid the mower, basically.
Okay. All right, so we will table this item. Thank you.
Correct.
Berry Road Bridge.
Commission,
Man.
late 2019, 2020, Harold, you come to myself and Clay, and we were talking about Berry Road, and you said, find a way to do this. So myself, Clay, Louis' office with the help of Bridget and Amber, and then Parks' office, Dana and Parks, we sat down and we had several meetings about how to fund Berry Road out of the county's budget. I just realized, had we have went through with that, there would have been less county maintenance on our county roads. The reserves in general revenue would have been depleted. And then COVID came along, and that changed the game. We received some of the COVID money, and then talking with Chris Crocker, he advised us of the governor's cost share grant that was gonna be coming out, and we applied for it with the help of Smith and Company, and we were successful in getting that. So I will let these guys talk. I'll introduce Jeremy Manning, which some of you guys know him from last week, and then Chris Crocker, which is our resident engineer from MoDOT. So if either one of them would like to speak, we will let them. But Jeremy's gonna have the floor first.
Handheld this keyboard. Jeremy, the up and down key.
So I'm Jeremy Manning, by the way, for any of y'all who don't know me. Structural engineer, been an engineer for about 15, 16 years, something like that. Known Chris for a long time. Okay, Carol, you said up?
No, down.
Down.
There you go.
So anyway, last week John asked me, he said, hey, there's a lot of people in the county who aren't as familiar with the whole history of Berry Road Bridge. Maybe you could do a little short presentation on it. So I just threw this together and called it Berry Evolution. So this is through the eyes of the consultant who's been dealing with this project actually since I think I first got involved with it in 2010 range. So just go over the introductions. Like I said, I'm Jeremy Manning. This is Chris Crocker, MoDOT. I'm going to go over MoDOT's part in this, our role, and then the end game, which is where we are today. So like I said, I'm Jeremy. Started off my college career actually in the National Bridge Building Competition. Got interested in bridges at that point. Went to Kansas City for a while, and then got an opportunity to move back home. Been designing bridges in the Boot Hill for about 13, 14 years. So we're going to talk about MoDOT's role. MoDOT, for those of you all who don't know, they inspect your bridges biannually. And so MoDOT in 2007 actually inspected this bridge and deemed it unsafe to be traveled at all. It was already load rated at the time. I don't remember load rating prior to that, but anyway, in late 2007, MoDOT comes in and says, guys, we got to close this road down. The pictures that we have are would tell it all, but they're a little fuzzy. Technology wasn't as good back in 2007, especially when the picture gets emailed and scanned several times. So anyway, as time went on, there's a little program called the BRO program, and this bridge had been on a deficient list for quite some time. I think MoDOT still uses the 10-year rule. So once it's been on the deficient list for 10 years, MoDOT says, look, you're going to lose the option to do anything with it. Well, you know, the bridge was very costly. So the BRO program back then, and probably even now, couldn't afford to build the Berry Road Bridge. So anyway, the state comes and says, look guys, you have about $150,000 to $180,000 total in BRO funds. If you were to ever build this project in the future, that's going to be part of the money you're going to have to spend. You know, tearing down a bridge like that is costly in itself. So they, the commission at the time took that advice. We were selected as an engineer to take care of it, and it saved the county $148,515 out of pocket. Just by using those funds back then. We were tasked to look at the bridge back at that time prior and give a second opinion on whether or not it could feasibly be fixed. The estimate by Burns and Mack around that time was around $2.4 million. We kept passing out the plate, you know. $2.4 million was hard to come up with, especially when you're talking about just repairing a bridge. So moving on, like I said, at that time, Dr. David Krant calls us and says, hey, we'd like to interview you as an engineer to look at, you know, the process of removing the bridge. And so we did that. And here's another summary of what I was talking about. County was very wise of taking that suggestion back then. You know, like I said, the state said, hey, you've got only so much money, you can at least use all you can to take the bridge down. And, so the contract was put out to bid, United Iron Workers in 2013, I think, 2014, something like that. Got awarded the bid and removed that structure. In that meantime, since then, county's been searching for a way to fund it. The commission's, like John said, says, hey, we'd really like a bridge back. The public needs the bridge. And then Chris comes along and helps. I think we were at a meeting in Otter Bluff, I believe. And Chris comes up and says, hey, you guys have a really good opportunity to go for this governor's cost share grant. And that was a lot of work. And I know MoDOT put a lot of work in it as well. Chris certainly saw the need, and I personally feel that he worked probably as hard as anybody on getting that for the county. So I couldn't be any more thankful for Chris, probably more than he knows.
Chris helps us a lot.
Chris helps us a lot, yeah. And so anyway, got the cost share grant, and so hope is on the horizon, as you can tell. So here we are. So the governor's cost share grant was $1.825 million. So we're getting there, right? That's a good thing. New bridges designed, and then there's a lot of hurdles along the way. Modern bridge members result in different geometry. So just a little summary, the old bridge was a truss. So your moment of inertia is actually up high.
And interrupting, that might be the picture you're talking about right there.
It's similar, that one's
That one's
in the
in
low.
Yeah.
The old
But
Deloach.
that's the type of bridge
Yeah.
you're talking
Yes.
about.
It is very similar. So this geometry actually takes your strength and puts it up above traffic. But you go back and you build a bridge like that nowadays, and the state comes in and they're going to say, hey guys, do you have the money to do your critical, like fracture testing and all that? You got a lot of inspection costs that come along with this style of bridge. So modern bridges now are not built like that. Because of that, it puts your geometry lower, right? Which means you have to in turn elevate the structure, which causes landowner access problems. It impacts Turkey Creek Road. So you start looking at the bridge design, the hydraulics, and man, it just gets more and more complicated. Right-of-way becomes a huge hurdle, which it has on this project. Environmental impacts because of lead have been a hurdle. And it eventually becomes to where that statement over here on the right-hand side in our office is absolutely the truest thing in bridge design. The structural design, even though it is very difficult, is the easiest part of these jobs. But now, commission, thank you, Chris, for sending us our letter. We are ready to bid. So anyway, final takeaway: St. Francis County utilized grant funds to remove the original structure, and now we're moving forward with a plan to replace. They actually did that, like John said, prior to receiving the governor's cost share, and we've been navigating the hurdles, and we're on a path to project completion.
That bridge was removed about the same time.
Yep,
Remember
I do
the big
remember.
bridge collapse in Minnesota, I think?
Mhm.
Got them to
Do the inspections of all the bridges across the United States, and we lost 2 really important bridges out there. We gotta get those kids and buses off the highway.
That's correct. So anyway, long process, and anyway, Chris, you got anything to add?
I'll just add one thing,
Well, come on,
but,
take me away from the mic.
I don't mind receiving a lot of the credit that Jeremy gave me. He did a great job presenting the bridge and the history of it and the story behind the funding. But I can't help but throw Governor Parsons into the mixture with creating the governor's cost share program in itself. He freed up $75 million worth of general revenue, which the way we spend our funding is complex. But if it's not on the state road system, so like Highway 67, Route D, any of our actual right-of-way, we're not actually allowed to spend those funds off of that network of roads. So by using general revenue, it opened up a whole new avenue where we could spend that money off system for projects like the counties and other locals. So I just wanted to add that into the mixture, but Jeremy did a great job covering the rest of it.
Don't forget the light bulb over your head that went off and said, hey, I know a project that's engineered and ready,
Well,
just about ready to go, so.
That's true.
That was a lot.
The governor wants to be the first one to jump off the bridge.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact is, like Chris was saying, you guys have taken a step to go ahead and move forward with the design, and that's something I kind of left out. If it wasn't for that, I don't believe that you would have gotten the cost share grant, isn't that correct?
It did make it extremely more competitive. It was a competitive process. I can't remember exactly how many applicants we have, but not everybody was selected. So that and then the safety benefits that go along with Highway 67 corridor and improving access north of Bonne Terre, because we still have those at great crossovers, so giving people another option to utilize an interchange south there really stood out in the application that you guys submitted.
I keep trying to sell this as St. Francis County providing the state with a wonderful outer road to 67. So within that, I want to mention too that Bridget has gotten a grant because we didn't have the bidding process in yet, as I understand it, as I remember. And so this is all timed very well. So that was 200,000 we got on that grant, something like that.
Well, on which one?
On the Berry Road Bridge, you did something with the grant, and at the time of the grant, the bidding could not have started yet.
Oh.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think it's 200,000, something like that. So the timing is important. Now we can put out for bids. So it's not just random timing on it. It's all planned and laid out in order so that we can take advantage of all these issues. Okay.
That was very informative.
Well, in the north end, I know, Chris, when they were looking, you were saying that really the exits up north. I think they did a study with Highway Patrol, and I think there's like an average of, I think the state were 280 wrecks, and that wasn't even counting the county. Dan's men, there was like 500 wrecks a year from Cash Lane north.
Those 5 crossovers.
And we're providing them, like Harold was talking about, a bypass road, which I think it'll really help them in the future, because I know back in the days we was involved in a lot of that when it snowed up north, that road was shut down. You couldn't, you had to drive 24 miles to get around it.
If you know the roads. Yes. All right, anybody have any questions on this presentation?
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, John. Okay, now, they are asking for permission to bid. Do I have a motion?
Tell you what, I'll make that.
That motion that we give them permission to bid the Berry Road Bridge.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Yeah, Rich.
Who's the them? You're giving them permission to bid. Who is that?
Jeremy, how will this be handled, the bidding?
Yeah, so we're already under contract to do all the plans and specifications.
And you'll do the bidding also.
So we'll do the bidding process the way that it's required according to federal highway.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I was gonna ask Jeremy, how long will that process, you think, from the time you bid this out, how long will that process be?
So this is our plan. I'm gonna meet with Chris and then try to get a feel for contractors. You know, contractors are very busy, and so just something, you know, when you see it on any facet, you know, that we're looking at right now, if you push a contractor and tell him that he has very little timeline, his price is gonna skyrocket. And so we have to be careful, trying to get, you know, this is a very large project. I can't publicly tell what our estimate is, but it's not cheap.
Can't talk dollars since it's going to be a bid.
That's correct. We can only do that once it's actually awarded.
Yeah.
And so my plan is hopefully we have a contractor that would like to work on it during the winter, this winter. But it's a very large project, you know, so ideally, a lot of bridges are being built through the winter, and then you come back and then do the paving, you know, once it warms up. So that's my hope. My hope is we have someone that's hungry enough that can do it this winter.
So we do have a deadline with our ARPA funds, September 30th, 2026. So you could kind of use that is a deadline for the bridge. So we have those ARPA funds spent by then.
We also have a lot of timing, you know, for Cherokee Landing, because, I mean, that's a big part of this. You can't impact his business.
He's talking about right away here too.
Correct.
They have a campground right
Luke?
We, as John mentioned, there is a deadline of 2026 to expend those ARPA funds. So my question is, Jeremy, can we have a bid that would state not to exceed an amount?
Funds or time?
Uh,
You're talking that 26.
Funding for the actual bridge. Can you have can you get a bid not to exceed X amount of dollars for the construction?
No.
No. Okay.
That would be good.
Basically, we'd be
I'd love
obligated,
that.
but we would just have to do a change
You'd be
order.
naming a target price too.
Yeah.
They are looking at extending that, and I'm not making any promises, Kim probably heard this, Louis. They're looking at extending that 26 deadline, and Jerry and I will actually be up tomorrow with Jeff City, and we'll try to get them to push that a little bit, because a lot of these smaller communities that are kind of only a certain amount of money, they're looking at getting those dollars spent by 2026, and there's not a lot of contractors out there. There are a lot of contractors that are working right now. They're having a hard time getting those projects in at a certain time to where that money that has to be spent by that time.
Well, if you remember 3 years ago,
Yes.
we saw this coming.
Exactly.
When we talked about this
Tried to get
project.
ahead.
And this is why the ones that I've talked to said they're looking at getting that extended. Both dates to get it qualified for, or, you know, appropriated for. They're looking at that date, and they're also looking at the date to have them spent by, so.
Okay, any other
Do we-
questions? Okay, go ahead.
One more question. Do we have a deadline for the cost share?
Kind of. So because it's general revenue, the state of Missouri has to reappropriate those funds every year. We've essentially been told that this year those funds will be reappropriated, and that next year they'll have to be reappropriated at the end of the state fiscal year. So that would be a good deadline to have everything spent by then. So all your invoices turned in, and contractors' invoices turned in. But generally speaking, we can't say that they won't reappropriate them, but I think the mindset is if you're showing progress towards getting it completed and built out, then it more than likely will be.
But you're gonna have a new governor, new legislature,
Right.
by that time, and the revenue estimates is that there'll be almost $1 billion deficit
So-
within 18 months, so I would get that.
Yeah, with that in mind, yeah, shoot for a completion date no later than that.
Yes.
What is that fiscal year?
July 1 to
July 1.
To Joe,
All right.
So my original idea was to take and course it, and I do plan on having a pre-bid meeting, because there's gonna be a lot of complexities about the camp, but my original idea was to do a mandatory completion of late next summer. That was my original thoughts.
Well, and we're also complicated by the Indiana badge, right, of October 31st.
That is correct.
Okay, now how will the removal of trees affect this?
Well, you know, we can't be building the bridge during summer season anyway. So,
Why?
because it'll affect the camp.
Okay,
We can't shut access down to the camp.
okay.
But the landowner is perfectly content with us building the bridge in the winter. That is what he's asked
Okay.
for.
So the bat situation goes from March 31st till when?
October 31st. October 31st.
Goes to that.
October.
October 31st.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I'm getting a winter deadline.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? All in favor of allowing this bid, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, we need to reject a bid that we received open last week for the North Barn property. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
And,
We don't wanna sell the barns, but, yeah.
well, next to the property.
North property, yes. I'm going to, make that motion to reject the bid that we got. We only ended up with one bid on that property. I'd like to make a motion, we, reject that bid.
Second.
Second.
Questions? All in favor of rejecting that bid, please say aye.
Aye.
I would also like to see if we could go into, I don't know how long, let's make sure, whatever's legal, to, since we only got the one bid from the gentleman, he does know this, and like to go into negotiations with this gentleman, since he was our only bid.
Okay. But that's not part of the agenda, so.
Well,
that's
it's not, but I just wanna let everybody know what's going on with it.
All right. Okay, did I get a vote on that? All in favor?
Yes. Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, award bid for flooring. Here, don't see her. She has, we received 5 bids for this. One was very clear and concise on the total cost, the others were not. And she has decided she wants to award this to Carpet One. And as you see, the price and it's an all-inclusive bid. Now, I talk about it being a health issue. It's old carpet, it stinks, and there's at least one or maybe 2 or 3 others in the office that are affected by it. Needs to be taken care of. Get that out of there and put in a good plank floor. So, motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid for flooring for the circuit clerk's office to Carpet One for $14,436.50.
Mike, I have a question, will that come under her budget, or will that come under?
No, bottom line, it's
Sorry.
gonna extend it, and that's taken care of. So,
Okay, sorry, just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Question? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. And that was, Carpet One doing all the work. Our maintenance people just are backed up right now, they can't do it. Approval of the SFC, San Francisco County IDA Board, and Kevin Cook brought this list by. Can't think of any way I would improve it, it's a good list, so.
Very good bunch of
Motion?
Yes. I'll make a motion, we approve the SFC IDA board, as it's presented.
Second?
Second.
Question?
How are these people appointed?
The board themselves, talked to the group and got the agreement on it, and then it presented it to us. So that's how it's been, but like I say, it's a great group of people.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Next meeting, new term, Monday, not Tuesday next week. And, it'll be, Friday is your agenda deadline.
That's from
Thursday. Because Friday
Okay, I missed that, so Friday's a good holiday, good Friday.
April 4th.
Okay, thank you. So somebody made a mistake on that screen. Yeah, we turned this PowerPoint over to Jeremy, you never know what's gonna
Well, you
happen.
can keep it Friday, it might be a short meeting.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so it'll be Thursday, thank you, and Friday we will be closed. Okay, other business, correspondence, public comments, departmental reports.
Mike Sumter, Superintendent Parks Department. Just a little update on where we are on the park going on. We have the bids open right now, or we're accepting bids for the phase 1 of the trail out there, the asphalt trail. We'll be opening those bids on April 16th. So far, we have several local contractors that have been talking with us and looking into it. We have finished the clearing, everything that we needed to do for the Indiana bats. So we're ready to go. As soon as we decide on a contractor, they can come in there and get working. The park has a new Facebook page that was just published, and it's under Owl Creek Park, if everyone would like to go look at it. There'll be updates on there, hopefully weekly or as time allows. One of the big things that we have going on is April 8th, the day of the eclipse. The park will not be closed. It's not really a soft opening. Anyone in the public is welcome to come. It's not closed that day. It is open, but it's not a soft opening. We don't have the asphalt trails completely finished. Well, we don't have them completely started other than the bidding. But we have several miles of trails that are cleared that the public is welcome to come check out, walk around. And then we have a pretty good sized field area for viewing of the eclipse. I think the eclipse is around 1:53 in the afternoon. I'll open up the park 7 a.m. and close it around 5 or after everyone leaves, but we're shooting for open 5. I think the commission.
153 is, it actually starts earlier than that, if I'm not mistaken, but the total goes from 153 to
203.
It depends on where you are, of course.
That is true, so.
I think, well, I mean, for our area, it's around that time.
Yes.
But there should be plenty of time for anyone who wants to come out to view from there. I would suggest bringing chairs if you want to sit down. We'll have some trash cans and porta potties around the parking lot area. I think we have parking for around 15 to 20 vehicles in the actual parking lot, but we'll be able to make some room up the entrance road for overflow parking.
And there's no ambient light right there, like a lot of places around town, the lights will turn on when it gets dark, which kind of screws up your
Correct.
viewing, whereas that's in the middle of nowhere, so you shouldn't have any other lights.
Correct. And it should be fairly quiet out there. It's pretty nice and peaceful and scenic. And as Kevin said, no light pollution to mess up the eclipse. So I think the commissioners wanted to talk about something with county employees, extending an official invite to the park that day, or at least open up some sort of discussion about it.
Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, I know what he's talking about, and a little bit of pressure for us to close down that afternoon.
Schools are closing, I think, early that day, if I'm not mistaken, that's what they said, so.
I'm calling the lights out.
They're not in session the whole day, okay, not in session the whole day.
Well, we need to be in session,
We need to be in session the
Saturday.
first part.
and I'm thinking maybe kick everybody out of here by noon.
By noon?
Or at,
Okay.
not by, but at.
All right.
So if any county employees wanted to come out, I mean, you guys could use it as a team building experience. Or, I mean, if I needed to, I could have a trash bag to hand out to everyone that comes, you know.
Well, the park anyway, we're gonna have a team building,
Yes.
thing ourselves, and all of our road and bridge guys are gonna be at the road and bridge, should there be any issues arise. They won't be out on the road, they won't be at Owl Creek, we will be at our shop.
But they'll be available.
We will be available, so.
As
we will
Mike
not-
was
we will
saying,
not be in
yeah,
attendance.
this would be a good time if you really want to see what the park's really like. Mike's done a really good job. We cut the trails, but Mike's got them with our new equipment widened, and you can pretty well walk. You'll be able to walk all the trails.
Many miles.
Yeah.
Just not paved yet.
It's just not paved yet, but it gives you a good idea of what's over there, and I advise you to go take a look, because it's really gonna be nice when we get done. And this is just one side. I mean, it'd be again, and he'll probably explain, you know, the phases we're going through, and then actually in the future where we can go with it, that it develops another 5 miles of walking immediate. So, it'd be a good time for you to go out.
You will be
And
very impressed looking at what
I'll be
they've done.
available for tours or explanations.
I'll be there.
or talking.
I'm going.
Well, this question may be a little premature, but it's one that I get asked a lot from the public, is any idea when the park will open?
Yes, well, we're shooting for around the beginning of November. I think if the current weather pattern, you know, keeps the way it is, where it's dry, I think we ought to blow that out of the water. I mean, we have everything prepped for them that it shouldn't be that much, so. But right now, we're still going off of our engineer's recommendation of late fall. I've been telling everyone fall. I think they said September 15th to November 1st. And I think we should be able to get that.
That's the highest attendance rates on parks is the fall foliage in the state.
And the thing with Mike, he's up there daily using that equipment and very dangerous equipment that he's using. So the reason, you don't want people in that park right now is because, he's working with his machine and which has to have bulletproof glass, by the way, in
What
front.
he's saying is Mike throws things.
He throws things, and yes, and so we don't want those people getting hurt, and that's why we closed it. I've had a lot of people call me and ask, hey, can I get down there? But just for your safety, no. So come out on the 8th and enjoy.
Well,
We'll
Dan,
have, we'll have our six-seater, side-by-side available to give tours to whoever would like.
And if they park up top, we can get them to where they need to
And
be.
also shoveling. Just a side-by-side tour around is 45 minutes to an hour and a half. So if people are out there walking, you can walk all day.
I should say,
Kevin, do
and
you have
also,
something?
Yes, I
Gary
do.
will be on some equipment too, so that's another guy that's throwing things at you.
Okay, Kevin?
Yeah, we, filing for the November election, which will go through August, ends at 5 o'clock a day. We're still voting, no excuse needed to vote out there for next Tuesday's election, which has a couple countywide issues and several school board and city issues, and we will be there Friday and Saturday morning from 8 till noon, because it's required by law the weekend before the election. And then, of course, it'll be there Monday, that will be the last time. And this year, we will be opening the Weber location for voting the day of the elections, all the elections, especially for people that need ADA accessibility.
Okay, and so, as I understand it, today is the deadline for filing for the August election.
That's correct.
Okay. Mike, do you have something else?
No.
I wanted to ask Dan, after the meeting's over, get with Mike on that flop camera.
Okay. Any other departmental reports? Senate Bill 190 is being rewritten in Senate Bill 756. There's the gist of what I got, but Kevin, there's nothing in there that says you have to apply for this.
No, that's the, one of the streamlining is that it would be an automatic, so that you don't have to have somebody taking all the applications.
So how
all
do
the
we
time.
know how old somebody is?
Well, they'll have to apply.
They'll have to
by-
apply.
Where it says do not apply, they'll have to, you've got their age and everything on the material now. That's what's gonna have to be clarified. It's through the Senate, it's in the House, it's going through the House committee. They may wanna try to amend it a couple times with a couple minor things, but in its present form, it's good enough that they could adapt it and take it up and final approve it the last week of the session in the House, even if the Senate doesn't take their amendments.
And as I read it, there's nothing that says you have to apply, so there's no way our people will know that somebody's reached 62 years of age.
Being notified at least.
Well, I think that their point on this now is that you have to notify of the age, but you don't have to go through an application process. You just have to do a notification rather than that. The other counties that adopt them, you have an application that has to be sent in and approved and submitted. You don't, you just have to show them that you're.
Well, that was my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rich?
Harold, a comment I would say on this particular issue is that for all those of us who have to pay state income taxes, the ages are right there on all the forms. So I'm sure there's a majority of us whose ages are in the system and automatically know. I think your concern is probably about those who don't pay any taxes or who are flying under the radar here. But I think the majority of us, our ages are in the system already.
Not follows the county clerk, it is not.
Just a comment.
Yeah.
Did you fix the part with the railroad retirement teachers?
Yes.
It's 62 is the only.
Because it's the age not qualifying for Social Security. That was the key element. It's an interesting, I told you how we probably wouldn't be able to get it through Eigel. Well, Eigel was in the hospital for 3 days, swallowing a hot dog wrong, something like that. And suddenly it's over in the house.
Okay, well, that's just an update on that. Any questions?
If there are any questions that you want taken up that way, Carrie and I will be up there tomorrow for, with the Southeast Missouri Commission's group, and we can ask any questions if you have any on this. Just let me know, and I've started a list already.
Any other departmental reports? Mrs. Paulson?
No, sorry, I make a motion we adjourn, sorry. There was a lady that was lost out there.